If you're wondering what kind of nut plant-based milk is best for your cakes, you're in the right place. Today I'm going to be comparing 4 types of plant-based milks that are completely nut-based: macadamia, hazelnut, almond, and cashew milks. I'm going to be testing them out all in the same vanilla cake recipe to see which one bakes the best. Are you ready? Let's do this. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, and if this is your first time here, hi, I'm Natalia Lima, owner and founder of Curious Cat Bakery. But before I was feeding thousands of people the best desserts they've ever had that just happened to be vegan, I was actually just another clueless vegan googling recipes and eating a lot of really bad dry cake. That was not going to work out for me. So now that I've cracked the code on vegan baking, I find it my mission to not only feed you, but to teach you how you can do the same. So if you're interested in getting recipes and tips on how to bake like a pro and make things that definitely don't taste vegan, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get notified every time a new video comes out. So in the past, I've done another experiment, and I'll put the link to that in the description below, where I tried other types of plant-based milks in the same cake recipe. And that went well, but in the comments to that, you guys suggested some other types of milks that I hadn't thought of trying. So here we go again. There are actually so many different types of plant-based milks out there that I'm going to break this down into a 3-part series all about plant-based milks in baking. So today on part 1, we're dealing only with nut-based milk. So we're dealing with macadamia, hazelnut, almond, and cashew milk. On part 2 next week, we're dealing with other types of milk. So oat, hemp, flax, and soy milks. And then finally on part 3, we're gonna be comparing homemade almond milk to the store-bought version. Whole lot of milk, a whole lot of cake. But I'm ready for this if you are. So let's get to part 1 today. Let's do the plain almond milk first. This is actually my favorite choice and the one I use in all of my cakes at the Curious Cat Bakery. I've said this before, you always want to use unflavored and unsweetened. Now let's do the most suggested option, macadamia nut milk. Who knew? So this is my first time using this type of milk, and I thought it was light in color, and it's a little thinner than cashew or even almond milk, but not by much. Now let's do the hazelnut milk. Hazelnut is actually my favorite milk for cereal or coffee because of its nutty flavor, so I'm interested to see how it comes out in a cake and if the taste will be impacted, which wouldn't be the worst thing because, again, I love hazelnut, but if you don't want that taste, that's going to be a problem. It's definitely a darker kind of milk. It doesn't have a smell, but it's the same texture as the almond milk essentially. Then finally we have the cashew milk. This is another one that has a very distinct flavor on its own, so let's see how it comes out in a cake. I mean, it's thick, there's no smell, but it's definitely a little thicker than the others. Now the cakes are in the oven, and we wait. Now while we wait for those cakes to bake, I know I mentioned here that I like different kinds of plant-based milks for different things. I prefer cashew on my cereal, hazelnut on my lattes. Do you guys have that too? Do you prefer different kinds of plant-based milks for different things, or do you have just an all-time favorite, all good for everything? Let me know in the comments below. Okay, so we have our cakes baked, but let's get to the actual tasting. That's my favorite part. So first up we have cashew, and in terms of structure, we are all good. Definitely lighter than the other milks. I mentioned earlier that I was a little worried because cashew milk does have a very distinct flavor. So let's see if it actually came out on the cake. I don't taste any cashew, and I'm a little surprised by that because cashew does have a very distinct flavor. It definitely didn't come out on the cake. Tastes like a, oh, I spoke too soon. There's definitely an aftertaste. I can definitely taste the cashew in the aftertaste after I swallowed it. It's not the end of the world. If you like cashews, I like them, so I don't mind it, but there's definitely an aftertaste. Second up, we have hazelnut. And hazelnut was the one that baked the darkest one, which is not surprising when we saw the color of the actual milk when I was pouring it. So it's not surprising that it would bake darker as well. Now let's see about this taste, because hazelnut again has a very distinct flavor. I can certainly feel a nuttiness to it. It's not super in your face. It's not like you're eating Nutella or anything like that, but there is definitely a nuttier taste to it. Again, nuttiness, vanilla, it works. It tastes good. Next up is macadamia, the most popular one. Who knew? I'm very curious about this because you guys were crazy about it in the comments and really loved it. So let's give this a try. There's a little bit of a sweetness to it. It's not bad. I don't mind it. It's not a bad sweetness. It's not overpowering. Just a little something something there. I like it. I like it. The final jury is that I like it. Then finally we have the almond. I have tasted this cake a million times. It is what I offer at the bakery. I use almond milk, so I know what it tastes like. I want to taste it so I can get a comparison, a benchmark for comparison to the others. Okay, so tasting this again for the millionth time reminded me of why I use almond milk in my bakes at the bakery. It's because almond milk, out of the nut milks, I find that is the most neutral one. I cannot taste anything extra out of having the almond milk in the cake. And if you just want a plain vanilla cake, that's gonna be the way to go to get that. With the macadamia, there was a little bit of sweetness to it, which I didn't hate. Honestly, that would be my second choice. I really like that one. Cashew and hazelnut were good options. You're still gonna get a cake at the end. It's still gonna taste good, but there's definitely an undercurrent of a nuttiness to it, and there's definitely an aftertaste when it comes to the cashew. So all of them work. It comes down to what do you want your cake to taste like at the end of the day. If you just want a replacement one for one, not gonna be able to tell the difference, unsweetened almond is definitely the way to go. So there you go. I hope this really helps you out. And if you're new to vegan baking and baking with plant-based milks, listen, I get it. It can be daunting at first, which is why I put together my list of top 10 tips for successful vegan baking. It is my list of things that I think really helped me when I was getting started, and I think it will help you too. You can get it completely free. I'll put the link in the description below. You just go in there, put in your email address, and it gets delivered straight to your inbox. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys here next Tuesday at 11 a.m. with a new video. Until then, you might want to watch this video that I mentioned at the top where I compare other types of plant-based milks, or this one where I go more into the scientific side of how plant-based milks are different and how that can affect your bakes. I will see you guys here next week. Until then, stay curious.